Okay, so today we're going to be finding the equation of lines. So let me remind you of what we learned yesterday. We learned that with slope-intercept form, we have y equals mx plus b form. Y equals mx plus b form. You're going to see me have Desmos open in a minute. I will definitely pull that open whenever I look at the equation of lines. Now, there's going to be two ways that you guys are going to be finding the equation of lines today. You're going to be given a slope and a point today, and you're going to be asked to find the equation of a line. That's way number one. Another way is that if I give you 2 points, 2 different points, I'm going to expect you to be able to find the equation of a line. So these are the 2 different examples that you're going to see me do in a minute. So the first thing that I'm going to do is I am going to do an equation maybe like this one, okay, F. I'll do F on this one. It says line F goes through the point 8, negative 1. 8, negative 1. That's the point that it goes through. And it has a slope of negative 3 over 4. And I'm going to ask you to find the equation of a line. Well, what I have is y equals mx plus b. That's what I'm going to use. What I already have is the slope. What I need to find that I don't know is my y-intercept, but because that's not my y-intercept. My y-intercept is where x is 0. So what I'm going to do is work with what I have. I have y is equal to negative 3 over 4 times x plus my b. I want to solve for b. To be able to do that, if I know that it passes through this point right here, I can plug in this point for y and x. I can plug it in because it's on that line, and it should give me my b. Let's look and see. So if I have y is equal to negative 3/4 x plus b, I'm going to plug in for y, I'm going to plug in negative 1 is equal to negative 3/4. I'm going to plug in 8 times 8 for x plus b. Well, in this, 4 goes into 8. This is like 8 over 1. Okay, 4 goes into 8 2 times. I have negative 3 times 2 on top and then just 1 on bottom. The other way you can do it is you can literally just multiply across. Negative 3 times 8. Then I would divide by 4 times 1. That's another way to do this, but I'm basically just simplifying this right here. So what I have is negative 1 is equal to negative 6 plus b. This would have been, if I just multiplied straight across, negative 24 over 4, which would give me negative 6 anyways. Okay, so now I'm going to add 6 to the other side, add 6 to the other side, and I end up with negative, so positive 6 minus 1 is 5 is equal to b. That means that my equation is y equals my slope I already had, negative 3/4 x, and now I have my b, my plus 5. I'm going to double check that to make sure that that's the right equation. So I'm going to actually open Desmos really quick. So I go to desmos.com. I highly, highly suggest you guys do this. You have the ability to check your graphs whenever you have to do this. I do it all the time, and I'm pretty good at this math thing, but I still always do this to make sure I have it correctly. So I'm going to put parentheses around the negative 3 divided by 4. Okay, so I'm going to make sure I do that. Whoops, I put it in the wrong spot. So I have to kind of do that. Negative 3/4 x, but then it's plus 5. Plus 5. I need to make sure that it goes through the point 8, negative 1. So I have 5, 6, 7, 8. It looks like right there, negative 1. And There it is. It does go through the 0.8, -1. The other way to check is to actually, in Desmos, you can put the point on there. 8, comma, -1. And I put a period, I meant to do that. 8, -1, just to make sure that it actually works on here, and it did. It put the point right on there for me, so I can see that it's on the line. Now, if this line was up, let's say that when I solved, I got -5 instead, -5, like I did something wrong in my math, it would not go through that 0.8, -1 that I was originally given. So then I would know, oh, that didn't work. That didn't work. Okay, so again, Desmos is really important to have open in the background. I'm going to leave it open because I'm going to do another one here. So in this one, the last example I'm going to do is one like yesterday that I already started to do for you guys. And it's talking about when you're given 2 points. I'm actually going to go to a separate sheet of paper. When I'm given the point 6, 5 and 3, 7, I'm no longer given my slope. It's really nice when I'm given my slope, but here I'm not given my slope. I'm going to have to find my slope here. So one way to do it is to go to Desmos. I'm going to clear both of these. I can hit X and X really quick. I'm going to put in the point 6, 5, and I'm going to put in the point 3, 7. And I'm just going to take a look really quick. Here's my look. It looks like from that point to that point, I would go down 1, 2 over 1, 2, 3. I think based on the graph, my slope is going to be down 1, 2, down 2. So I think my slope is going to be -2, down 2, and over 1, 2, 3, and over 3, -2/3. But let me show you how we do that mathematically and with the graph here. What I did when I went down 1, 2 is I went from 3, 7 to 6, 5. I took the changes in my y's. I went from 3, 7 to 5. So 7 to 5. I took my 7 minus my 5. That's my change. Okay, I went down 1, 2, so 7 minus 5. And then I went over 1, 2, 3. I went over 3. What I did there is if I did 7 minus 5, I would do 3 minus 6, my change in my x's. I end up with 7 minus 5 is +2. On the bottom, I have 3 minus 6, which is a -3. And there is my -2/3 that I found right from the beginning. Remember this negative, it doesn't matter where you put it. It can be even out front, but -2/3 is how I usually write it, but it does not make a difference where it is. The top, the bottom, out in front, I get -2/3 for my slope. I get -2/3. Okay, so now what I have so far, I have y is equal to -2/3 x plus, well, here's the problem. I don't know my b. But from the last example that I just did, the nice thing is I could try to guess it here. I don't want to guess though. So what I could do instead is I can go through and plug in one of these points. You can choose either one. I personally think this one's going to be easier just because it's smaller number for my x, but I'm not sure. I'm going to plug that point in. It doesn't make a difference at all, but I'm going to plug that in for x and y and solve for my b. So I have y is 7, so I have 7 is equal to -2/3, and my x is 3, which is like 3 over 1, okay, plus b. Well, I'm sure you guys can see, you could do -2 times 3, which is -6 over 3 times 1, right? So I'm going to get -2 there. But I tend to do this, like 3 goes into 3 one time. So I end up with a -2 over 1. Regardless, I get 7 is equal to -2 plus b. I need to add the 2 to the other side to solve for b. So I get 9 is equal to b. That was my last step. I have y is equal to -2 thirds x plus 9. I better double check that in Desmos. I think that I did it right, but let's double check. So in here, I'm going to graph the equation y equals, I always put parentheses around my -2 divided by, and when I do divided by, all I'm doing is on my computer, maybe you can see here, I do this button, like the divided by, it's a slash, and it makes it divided by on there, okay? So divided by 3, and then I end my parentheses like that, -2 thirds x, and then I have my plus 9. Let's hope it works. It better go through those 2 points that I have, and it sure does. You can see I still have my 2 points, and they're on that line. They're on that line. If it didn't, let's say that I had plus 4 instead. I had plus 4. Look at that. It doesn't go through them. Okay, doesn't go through those 2 points. Okay, that's all for notes. So you guys are going to be practicing this where you're either given a slope and a point or 2 points. And you'll go through and you'll look at how to solve using this.